morning, good morning, good morning. And thank you for joining us on another episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I am your host, Sharifa Hardy, and I have an amazing show for you today. I want to go ahead and introduce you to some really wonderful, some really great people. And I'm sure you're going to be as impressed with them as I am. But while I am getting ready to go ahead and introduce the show and introduce the guests, I'm going to ask you to do what I always ask you to do, and that is to go ahead and share this show because friends don't let friends miss out on the Roundtable Talk Show. So while you're sharing, you also might want to go ahead and grab a notepad because this information, again, you definitely do not want to miss. I want to introduce the first guest, Mr. Bill Poje. And I was so excited to speak to him because we're going to get to talk about his books. We have three of them. We're talking about the Byzantine pineapple with the corporate seal. We're talking about his book, Painless. And we're also talking about Byzantine pineapple. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
I am well. Thanks for having me, Sharifa, and hello to everyone out there.
Bill, let me tell you something. I don't know. I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but I spent a weekend feeling lazy, like I was unproductive because I couldn't put the books down. I was like, I should be doing something else. But your mind is kind of interesting. The books read as if it's a true life story, but yet it's supposed to be fiction. Am I understanding this correctly?
Painless is the first of a trilogy, the last trilogy. It's designed to be a big budget motion picture. Cost $75 million to produce, targeting a global box office of $400 million as a minimum. And then the sequels will be Blindless and Timeless, and I expect to have Blindless out early next year, as well as another novel, the Salvador Dali Cipher. Salvador Dali Cipher combines the TV show Charmed with the Da Vinci Code using the works of Dali.
Bill, I noticed that is there some truth in it? Because I noticed we didn't technically answer the question.
Oh, there are certain scenes and such where personal life experiences are worked on it. That does occur. Most notably, the fact that the climax occurs during a hurricane. I happened to go through or evacuate 9 hurricanes from 2004 through 2007. So
Oh, wow.
those certainly were good life experiences to put in. The sequel for Blindless will end with an ice storm in Philadelphia. And certainly have been through many ice storms and such in my life. So yes, it's part of the art is to work in experiences. It comes off best if you write what you know about.
So you've had a very interesting life then if you write what you know about. Because I want you to explain to us the pineapple aspect, the Byzantine pineapple, inside, outside. Can we have a demonstration on that?
Well, the Byzantine pineapple is a nonfiction, and that has a wraparound cover. Let me do this correctly here so you can see. Pineapple means that, Byzantine means that we live in a world of so many laws that all of us are criminal. It's a Byzantine system of legal system of laws, and we're all criminals because there's so many laws on the books, it's impossible for us not to be criminals. Pineapple means that there are those who live inside the Byzantine pineapple who are sucking off all the tax dollars. Let me give you an example of that using the drawing from it. Okay, this is the internal drawing with the CARES Act. The CARES Act was $2.2 trillion, okay? Now, outside the pineapple wall, all the taxpayers got $1,200 checks. You add up all the $1,200 checks, and depending on what source you believe, it's between 75 billion to 150 billion. The total CARES Act was 2.2 trillion. Where'd the other trillion go? To the people inside the pineapple wall.
Okay, but that's Bill. I keep asking the same question because you're saying this is fiction. This is fiction. But
I write both fiction and nonfiction.
Okay.
So there are two separate segments to everything.
So you're saying this is nonfiction?
That is nonfiction, correct. The Byzantine Pineapple is nonfiction. Painless, the Les Trilogy, that's fiction. The Salvador Dali Cipher is nonfiction. Other upcoming works, Unmanifest Destiny, Senator Smarmy, those are all nonfiction, are all fiction, and they're designed to be big budget pictures. And in shameless shelf promotion, they can be found on the website of poje.biz.
Poje.biz. I just want to make sure because I'm looking at the pineapples. I'm seeing all these people. I'm wondering where the money goes, because a lot of people made a lot of money during this quarantine and didn't go out to the people. The people still trying to get their money. But I'm going to come back to you, Bill. I want to go ahead and introduce our next guest. And our next guest is also focused on empowerment, helping people. I want to introduce Miss Jaquelin Jenkins. She went from a career in politics to sales into her true passion, working with CBD and cannabis. Good morning, Jaquelin. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so are you inside the pineapple or outside the pineapple?
I'm not sure. I'll have to read his book to find out more. But I do like pineapples. I like the whole idea. I do have a degree in political science. So all that's going on right now, is super intriguing. And to see how cannabis plays out, in the mix of all of this with healthcare and our government is really interesting, to say the least.
Yes, it is. Now, but you went from politics to cannabis. Usually, I think it's the kind of the other way around. People live this wild life as a teen, with cannabis, and then they're like, let me straighten up and let me save the world. Why did you get out of politics?
Yeah, so I had planned to be the next Supreme Court Justice. Rest in peace,
Yes.
Ruth. And I was blessed with a job right out of college, being the director of operations for a political fund. We raised the most private money for LGBT. I got to be there for the Supreme Court decision for same-sex marriage at the age of 25. So that was really awesome to be involved in that. And I still, I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it. Unfortunately, though, I did see how the sausage was made, and my heart was broken. I was working for the good guys, and it still came down to money. Mm-hmm. And so what I realized was, unfortunately, in our government today, and maybe that will change, and I do see it, somewhat changing already since then, is that money is how things get changed in America, and so. I realized my real passion was connecting with people. And so I was like, all right, I can connect with people and I need to make some money. Mm-hmm. So I got into software sales. It's interesting though, software sales and politics is everywhere, basically. Mm-hmm. With that being said, I kept searching, for my higher purpose that, making the 100K club didn't satisfy me. And so I had an opportunity to get into the hemp business. My dad is my farmer, and then I kind of do everything else. He was number 300 and something of hemp farmers in North Carolina, starting in 2017. And here we are now in 2020. And, the business really changed overnight. We didn't plan on launching our business until 2020. But our season in 2018 did so well that we were able to launch in 2019. So it's a fresh business. My personal purpose is to see how many people I can align. That is what CBD does overall, is that it takes your body to homeostasis. My business purpose, and that is continuing to grow, is to truly change the perception of cannabis and to connect people and to bring people back to their true roots. Cannabis is something that has been around since the time of beginning, and there's been a lot of politics and government control put into that. The prohibition is one of the most racist things America has ever done. So, it's interesting to see how it's going to play out and where it is today.
Yes, interesting conversation. We're definitely going to have you on another one of my talk shows.
I'd love to.
Talk show. Yes, it's Wednesdays at 10 a.m. So if you're available, I would love for you to join us. But
Definitely.
We have those hard conversations, ask those difficult questions about race. And I would love to be able to dive into that further. I just don't want to do it
Totally.
this platform. But to go back to that, one of the things that you mentioned is CBD, hemp, and cannabis. So many people kind of roll it all together and don't understand the different verbiage. Can you explain to us?
Totally. So the cannabis plant is one plant. Just like a rose plant, there's many different variations. With the hemp plant, the definition of hemp is less than 0.3% THC. THC is the psychoactive property, and that is what you will find in weed. In 2018, the Farm Bill, hemp became legal. Cannabis is still a scheduled substance. So there is a lot of confusion when it comes down to that. But what we need to all understand is that the cannabis plant is one plant. There's just different genetics within that plant. Our genetics that we grow are specifically for high CBD content. And then there are other genetics where, especially weed plants specifically, that aren't going to find any CBD whatsoever. There are over 120, it really should be called CBDs, because there are over 120 cannabinoids within the plant itself.
Now, one of the things that I found interesting about you is you said your father is your farmer. Now, when a lot of people think about this world, this CBD and hemp and cannabis, we still, I believe, tend to think of some, back alley, illicit drug
dealer. Yes.
But for you, it's a family business.
Yeah, it's really cool. My dad and I, maybe we're too much alike. I don't know. Definitely never thought that I'd be working with him. We're a lot different as much as we are similar, but he actually was able to get his license because he had a passion for growing oversized pumpkins. And so he won the state fair of North Carolina for a 1,200-pound pumpkin, which gave him the winnings to qualify as a farmer. So that is how he was able to get into the pilot program and receive his license. So the pumpkins, led us here. It was just something, he was taking care of my grandfather, and it was just a hobby. He's always been involved in cannabis. And so now this is a great way for him to legally be able to use his green thumb and, change people's lives, which is really great to hear, how much our product specifically has changed so many people's lives in so many different ways.
What are some of the ways that it's changed lives?
Yeah, so the endocannabinoid system is the deepest system within our bodies. The reason we need to take CBD, especially a full spectrum hemp extract, which is what we sell, is due to the fact that our endocannabinoid systems are not healthy. Majority, 9 out of 10 times, because we don't have cannabis in our diet. It was once upon a time, but when the government got involved and prohibition got involved, hemp was no longer part of our diet. With that being said, once your endocannabinoid system is healthy, your nervous system, your endocrine system, all these other systems start to fall in line because your deepest system is at homeostasis. So that is why, you're going to hear so many different results, from sleep to pain to focus. It's going to affect everyone different because their endocannabinoid system is different. For me, I was able to get off of my antidepressant, my Xanax, my Adderall, things that I had been prescribed my whole entire life. Being 30 years old, I was definitely put in that category of, pharmaceuticals at a young age, just because, they were testing it out and trying it out. I wish that my parents had this option, to give me. I actually have a lot of customers that are giving it to their children, and they're seeing this, huge impact. Not that they were on medicine before. And a lot of people, like, well, I'm healthy. Why do I need to take it? Like I said, your body, you don't know that, there's such little research, especially research that's being displayed. You don't know how it's going to affect you until you try it. So it's really, the results are all over the place, to be completely honest.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that. I want to come back to you, but I want to go ahead and introduce my next guest, Ms. Veronica Winsky. This is her first time joining us on the Roundtable Talk Show, but she is someone who tunes into the show all the time. I love her comments. I love her energy. And if you are looking forward to the Power by Purpose 2-day empowerment teleconference, like I know I am, you will see this young lady there. She is a presenter. I can't wait to see her session. But aside from that, she also loves to help women reinvent themselves. She is the founder of the Dream Life Formula. Good morning, Veronica. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifa. I'm great. Honored to be a part of this awesome panel this morning.
I love your accent. I love accents, though. I just do.
Thank you. When I was younger, the only thing I could think of is like, please let this accent disappear so I sound like everyone else. But now I'm like, no, that's how people remember me.
Find something to keep them, remembering you. What have you thought of the conversation so far? Just hearing Bill and hearing Jaquelin. What are your thoughts?
I am seeing how people are in aligned with their purpose and they are creating change through doing what it is that they are doing, through writing, through sharing medicines from the earth. That's amazing. My mind is blown that Bill can write so many books, fiction, nonfiction. That's quite the mind you have going. And then I love it that Jaquelin and her family are contributing. Like that's where the real medicine comes from. It comes from the earth. It comes from the plants. And we must see past the programming that we've been made to believe is true as to what is right, what is wrong, what is good, and what is bad, and really align ourselves with how does that feel to us and be open to new things in new ways. Because like Jacqueline said, she was on all these hard medicines that the doctors, the professional prescribed to her. And it doesn't help you be better. But then when you open yourself up to the healing properties of the plants, instead of the mimicked chemical concoctions, then your body can naturally begin to heal. So I love it.
You seem passionate about this, Veronica.
I love it.
I am extremely passionate about it, especially when I get in a room with other people that are helping to open people's minds to new possibilities. Because for me, I'm on a mission to help as many, mainly women, because women is where my passion is, to help them in remembering when during this awakening process, remembering their purpose, remembering their calling, and really stepping into it. Because now is the time, and it's scary because there is so much crazy chaos happening, but at the same time, along with the scary stuff and the hardship, there is unlimited new opportunities and possibilities. So I love it. I love being a part of a group of like-minded, open-minded people that are helping people with their gifts.
I love your energy. Your energy is just contagious.
Thank you.
So explain to me about the Dream Life Formula. What is the formula to living the dream life?
So over the years, as I've been working with my clients, and for quite a few years, I was so fascinated with how fast I was helping my clients to create change that I became known as that woman that if everything went wrong and you tried everybody else, whatever it may be, just go to Veronica. She'll help you get better. And over the years, as I help people in so many different aspects of their lives, with some were careers, some were even legal, some were health, some were whatever they were, I realized that I am helping them. And there's these 5 pillars of what I'm leading them through. So no matter what change they needed to create in their life, there was a system. And that system didn't just appear to me. I worked with a business coach because we many times cannot see the answers that are right in front of us. We cannot see the systems, the formulas, the patterns, because we're in it. So I worked with a business coach. I've always been working with a business coach since I started my business. It's just part of the process. But the one at that time made me realize, wow, I have this formula. So that's when I created the dream life formula, the pillars of living the life of your dreams and creating what it is that you most desire. And it really all starts with knowing what it is that we desire. Because right now we are facing a big crisis in the world, not just the crisis that we're being told about every day and every waking second on the news and on the media, but the crisis of people forgetting their purpose.
Mm, mm.
And when we don't know what it is that we want and we get sucked into this reality that we've been programmed to believe is the only possibility for us, then it's hard for us to remember that purpose, that calling. Because once we remember, then we open up the window of becoming aware when in our daily lives we are standing in our own way of creating that life. But first we need to remember and give ourselves permission to dream. So
Yes.
yeah.
So yes, Veronica, I come back to you. Bill, I wanted to ask you, how do you give yourself permission to dream?
How do I give myself permission to dream?
Yes.
I don't. I act with what Veronica actually was just saying about purpose. And it's funny for me, in a certain sense, to what she was saying. In 1994, I tried becoming a writer, and I failed miserably. Why did I fail miserably? Because I had no purpose. Okay, and in 2007, it so happened I was living on Grand Cayman and Grand Bahama. I was the financial controller for the largest exporter out of Bahamas. And I had a choice. I had a personal choice: stay with island life forever or do something that I really wanted to do. I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I had no purpose. And it so happened I walked in and watched another terrible big budget Hollywood film. And I said, you know what? I can do better than this. This is my purpose. But if I'm going to do that, how am I going to actually write the story? So therefore, the story became one of writing a fiction novel of purpose. Okay, so if you're gonna create a big budget film and a series of big budget fiction films, the thing is you have to appeal to everyone, male and female, regardless of any other demographic. Okay, if you start saying, well, I want teenagers, or I want males, or I want females, or whatever, you're limited. And creating products that appeal to people aren't limited by demographic factors. They're products that appeal to people. The Godfather is watched by everyone, because it appeals to people. So therefore, that led to creating the first one, which is Painless. And here's the 30-second Painless book tour, which encompasses everything that is the purpose. And the purpose is, if you're going to sell to everyone, and especially women, you have to have a story with romance, spice, and steam, and soap opera. Okay? You have to have a big finish. You have to have chase. You have to have humor. Okay? So this takes 30 seconds. It's 2005. The man with the hurricane full of trouble is Augustus Valentine. Og runs an import-export company outside Port Everglades, started with illegal money. So were the real estate developments in Sandestin. People with illegal money must do something with it. Periodically, goods are smuggled in and out of the country. In come the rubies, sapphires, and diamonds. They are promptly stolen from Mr. Og. Who did what and why is the primary plot. Painless also features Jocelyn, Og's crazy girlfriend. Jocelyn sells jaguars in Merritt Island. They have a weekend getaway in Ponte Vedra. There's a big hurricane finish on the beach in Sandestin with gold, platinum, gambling in the mix, as well as character development chapters in Detroit, Philadelphia, Cleveland, and Nashville.
Wow.
There is a whole marketing campaign already worked out in the context of the cover of the book.
Wow.
Okay?
I'm impressed.
So the sequel coming up is Blindless, which you probably can't see the whole board. Blindless features the back end of the hurricane, deer hunting in Michigan, Kruger ants in Detroit, disco demolition night in Chicago, extended chase scenes through South Florida, South Beach, in particular the Lincoln Road Mall, winds up with an ice storm in Philadelphia, followed by a car chase down East Schuylkill, the Churchill Expressway to Penn's Landing, featuring an extended chase scene through the King of Prussia Mall.
What about the red stilettos?
Those are the ruby red slipper shoes.
Oh.
Okay, because the rubies from the first book end up being made into a pair of shoes for
Oh.
Okay.
Valentine's Day. And who owns the shoes and whatever, that's part of the soap opera. That's part of the appeal, the romance, spice, and steam. So I'm not writing a story, I'm not writing books in the fiction side of, oh, I've got this great idea for a book. No, I'm constructing a manufacturing product, and I've been in manufacturing almost my whole life. So I have a very good idea of how you go through prototype and test everything. And I also know in the same regard, then you have to time everything out. And I know it works out to a 2.5 hour movie because I already have the timing schedule all worked out. And on the flash drive that I sent someone, there's the prototype of the movies of the trilogy on it.
I was very impressed, but I just want to go back because initially you said you failed miserably as a writer. You failed miserably. You saw the movie and you said, I could do better. Okay, but how did you make the transition in writing though? Because that couldn't have been easy.
I became more mature. I
Okay.
had 15 more years, 2004 to 2000. I had basically 13 more years of business experience and more manufacturing experience. Also, during my work years of those times, in the positions I was in, I had to organize, schedule, send a lot of emails out, write a lot of documents, do a lot of writing. It honed the ability to write and communicate better with people. And I learned more. I matured.
Interesting. Jaquelin, how do
Yes,
you know
ma'am.
you're living your purpose?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
How do you know that you're living your purpose?
Well, thanks to astrology, I literally know that I'm living in my purpose.
Okay, what does that
But
mean? I need to explain. I need to understand that. What aspect of astrology? Because I'm an Aries and I'm always like saying all these different things. So what aspect of
yeah,
astrology?
so your birth chart, I'd love to run it for you one day, but your natal birth chart has so much information in it. And it's something that I would love to see. You know, I'm sure Veronica might use this in her practice. I'm curious if she does. But you know, that we should start with our natal chart a lot sooner than we, you know, I just happened to stumble upon it. I don't know if you've ever had yours read before. But there's a lot in the way that our star placements, literally from the exact time and place that we were birthed, that tells a story. Not only that, but the more that I go in and the more that I lean closer to serving others and being, you know, living a purpose-driven life, I feel more in my purpose, whether it's, you know, holding the door open for someone or, you know, being the CEO of a CBD business. Mm-hmm. You know, being a purpose to others allows me to feel like I am living in purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Veronica?
How do I know I'm living in my purpose?
No. I want to go back to what Jaquelin was saying about astrology, and she was saying you might use that.
Do you use it in your practice?
You know, astrology is not part of my practice, but you know, there is so many different tools, techniques, and ways for us to remember.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That which we came here to be and create and, you know, be in alignment with, that once we find it, that's when we have to lean into it. And I share this with my clients all the time. When you discover something that feels right for you, go in that direction, get curious, because most likely, yes, there are some answers in there that will unlock the doors for you. And yes, astrology is extremely powerful. Mm-hmm. And it is accurate.
I'm curious what your 5 pillars are. I want to know more about your process.
Oh, yes. Well, you know, first of all, it is definitely first is knowing what it is that you desire. What is that dream? And opening yourself up to remembering. Second one is to be aware. Become aware of the old habits of where you stand in your way. 3 is conscious communication. 4 is being aware of your body language and talking to your body and being in alignment with your body. And then number 5 is always doing your best and incorporating all of these awarenesses into the future that you most desire. I could go on. Each one is a very deep topic that I go into, but overall, in the end, it's really just 3. Know what it is that you desire, become aware of the old habits, and then know that you need to change it with conscious communication.
Let's talk a little bit more about conscious communication. What is your definition of conscious communication?
Being aware that everything that comes out of our mouths and everything that we say inside of ourselves to ourselves and to that which is outside of ourselves has energy. And most of the time we are not aware of our language. Therefore, it's not conscious communication. It comes from that unconscious programming. Because everything that we say today, 95% of the thoughts and that are going through our mind today are the same ones that we had yesterday, the day before, and the day before then. And most likely, it's the same thing with our actions. We kind of go through the same thing every day, unless we have something else to do on our calendar. But when we become aware of where we're like in those old patterns, through conscious communication is how we shift the trajectory of our life. For example, so many times people say, oh man, why does this always happen to me? Oh, this always happens to me. Why? Why does this always happen to me? That's completely unconscious question that's going to have severe consequences. Because at that moment when people say, oh, why does this always happen to me? They are so strong in that feeling. And then they ask that question. That question has so much potency. That's when the laws of attractions are really triggered and will bring you more situations, people that will prove to you, why does this always happen to me? So more of it will show up. Whereas instead we'll say, for example, like the same thing shows up again. And we ask, well, how does it get any better than this? How does it get any easier than this? What else is possible here? There is an unlimited possibility of the words that we can choose and use. So conscious communication is simply being aware of what's coming out of our mouths and what we are putting out there. Because in those moments of asking like, why does this always happen to me? You are putting in a cosmic order for more of that to show up. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Live in a state of constant gratitude.
Yes, that's definitely. And we have to retrain ourselves. So like Jaquelin said, constant gratitude. If you say, okay, I can do that. I can begin to be grateful for things no matter what. You are again shifting the trajectory of your life, because what you focus on the most and what you do every day with the thought, action, and reaction is shaping the reality that you are experiencing.
Yes, yes. I think that is beautiful. Now, Jacqueline also changed her reality by going from corporate sales to being her own boss, founding her own company. Now, for people who may be interested in getting into the industry, what type of advice would you give them, Jacqueline?
Well, first and foremost, going out on your own and being your own boss is, one of the best things that you can ever do. But I've definitely learned this past year that I'm very grateful for what I had. It's very interesting to see, the different sides of being a boss and being an employee. But I think the first step, you just have to take the leap, and take that faith and know that you are stepping into your purpose in the universe. Once you make a decision, it'll continue to give you what you need to make it happen. But there's room for every single body in the cannabis industry. It's such a new industry, even though it's one of the world's oldest plants. There is room for everyone: accountants, marketing, I think that the more people that get involved in plant medicine and conscious businesses, the better our world. And I think we'll continue to see the rise in conscious business. But, that first step, just taking the plunge, I will recommend keeping your job as long as you can, until you see your side hustle triple what you're making at your job, but if it's energetically pulling you away from that, then maybe you do need to leave, and maybe you're not going to have as cushy of a bank account, but continue to have that faith, continue to take those leaps, will serve you well in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I definitely agree. Now, Bill, what was it like for you to step out there and produce content and produce, books for movies, as opposed to staying with the tried and true in a corporate world or at a day job?
Well, I had made it. I was living on Grand Cayman Island. I was working on 7 Mile Beach.
Oh, wow.
I was living in the Bahamas, I was getting run all around everywhere. And I could have stayed with island life the rest of my life. Would have meant being more brown nosing and eating the crow of being an employee versus my own boss.
Mm-hmm.
There were also personal aspects to it with regards to living on an island, buying a house there, work permits, being able to go through all that. My mother is also now 95 years old. I take care of her along with everything else I'm doing. Taking care of mom is process number one, and that's personally very important to me. So for me, having made it, having been to that point, I've run corporations bigger than running and making a big budget movie. Mm-hmm. So I prepared myself. Okay,
Yep.
Experience and the maturation prepared me for what I was going through. That kind of echoes what Jaquelin was saying of, don't do it till you're ready. Get the experience, learn from your experiences, okay, and go from there. But in a similar, I agree with Veronica. I take it from a different perspective. And in the nonfiction Byzantine Pineapple, on the what she's saying, my perspective is slightly different in the regard that this is the asleep in the matrix, and in the text there's a series of things that we are told every day by various media. We're told it by the political parties, we're told it by the union leadership, by the major corporations, by the lobbyists. They tell us to believe things. Okay, and this is what in there shows what you're told to believe. And many people go through life believing that. And it's only when you wake up from the matrix and you realize that these realities of what you're being told aren't real. Reality is all you perceive it to be, as the wonderful Videodrome movie points out in a great fashion. I'm a movie buff, so I certainly have lots of quotes and such.
Well, I'm curious as to what are some of those things, because we can't read it from here, but I would love to hear at least a couple.
Sure. Our side's tax plan will solve everything. The other side's tax plan only enriches their supporters. Okay, we're told this all the time, right? I saw an ad today, a Biden ad that says we will tax the wealthy more. Well, so what? What are you going to do with it? What's the end game? Okay, so when you wake up from it, you realize that both sides always modify taxes to buy votes. Mm-hmm. Both of them do that. Okay, both of them say our housing plan will eliminate homelessness. The other side will kill the homeless. When you wake up, you realize neither side has a plan to eliminate homelessness. Okay, they pass all these pieces of legislation as they've done for decades and decades. It's not going to, there is no end game. There is no purpose to what they are doing. The only purpose is to stay in power and to control us more and more. And I think that what I'm saying then is that goes to Veronica's point of you need to step out from beyond the control of others and take control of yourself. and realize that you control what you think and do. Don't let everyone continue to tell you what to think and do. Learn to think for yourself. And the last, one of the last ones, the government message, all because of the other side. Our side is virginal, right? Neither of them. Oh, our side is wonderful. The other side isn't. When you wake up, you realize both sides created the mess of government.
So how do we wake up? What does it take? What do we do to wake up?
Both sides
Take your CBD.
are responsible.
Tune into shows like this.
The change is to have a plan.
Have a plan? See, I think that was the matrix. Like we were getting the secret, the answer to
Plan.
wake up, and then all of a sudden we lose the connection.
System.
Technology failed us.
I do think, speaking on waking up, I think that the pineal gland is calcified for a lot of us. And for me, I realized once I took fluoride out or tried to stop using fluoride toothpaste, which is so crazy, that's the most simple thing, I started seeing a complete difference. Also, Kundalini yoga helped a lot with my awakening, meditation, but also tuning into yourself, turning the TV off, trying to get off social media, for pointless scrolling. Like Veronica said, tuning into shows like this, making conscious efforts to go in the conscious, direction.
Veronica, you were going to say something?
Yeah, and I was going to say that now give ourselves permission to go and explore things that were maybe viewed as woo or, hippie or, those new age, like just lean into it. And I say this because I used to be that corporate person that thought all of this stuff is a whole bunch of hoopla. And
Same.
this is so ridiculous. I'm like, I can't
That's
even
interesting you say that, Veronica, but then you also say that astrology is not something that's in your toolkit. So what are some of the tools that you use then?
Well, because my speciality is clearing out the subconscious mind. So most my tools are going in there to get that old platform disrupted and get all those old stories and points of creation of the reality out. So astrology for me is not part of it. But what I do use, I use a lot of tools from Access Consciousness, NLP, tapping, matrix energetics, Psych-K. I can go on and on because I'm so curious and I love it. But then what happened over the last, gosh, it's been a few years now when I've been going through my own reinventions and life wipeouts. At one point, I came to this point where I thought, there's no way I can do this anymore. There's just too many, I can't figure it out. I can't plan it out. Everything I planned out got wiped out again. And I said, you know what? Whoever it is out there that you're telling me to do this, you need to take over because I don't know how to proceed. Show me how.
Surrender.
And then it began to not only show me how, but then like this other, like something opened up where I can pull out people's old limiting beliefs, points of views. And many times we pull out pains and all kinds of things. I don't do it. Something else comes through me, but because I'm focusing on the subconscious mind, I can pull out the old stories without you really telling me.
Okay, so let's talk about October 9th and 10th, Power by Purpose 2-day empowerment teleconference. What are you going to do in your session?
I'm definitely going to share the 3 main points of how to remember your dream and how to begin to become aware of the old habits and how to retrain yourself so that literally after I am done, they will know what to do and how to shift the trajectory of their lives. So if they choose to show up, I mean, I can guarantee you, if they hear it, it's going to open up the window of new possibilities because of the information that I'm sharing. And then I don't like to just share information. I like to share tools and practical knowledge that's very, very simple, but that's life-changing. So literally they can expect to open up the window of either remembering their purpose or accelerating their journey and their path and knowing how to stay on path. So
Do you use Reiki?
Reiki is not one of the modalities that has like I was guided to do, but the way I see it, when was it? This was like 2014. Yeah, is when I opened up to the energies that are coming through me. And for a couple years, I was working with a business partner, and we opened up a healing center. And literally, I'm like, I don't think, and I realized I don't need certifications. Like, that's why it's remembering. It's opening ourselves up, because as we speak, like I can feel it. It's like, oh, it's coming through my arms. Because it's always there. And it's not about somebody giving us a certificate or a diploma. And I have all of those that I listed, and with everyone, it's not about me having another thing that I can put on my wall. It's about me remembering something and allowing for it just to come through me. So it's opening up to more ease. That's the only way. And the person that, if somebody 10 years ago when I left the corporate world would tell me that this is me, I would have been like, no, you got the wrong person. No. Because I'm doing what this is my purpose. This is my passion. This is what I've always desired to do. However, I didn't even know that what I am doing now was even a possibility, because I thought that to do this work to help people create change is through psychology and through being a doctor, because that's what I was told in school. But there is unlimited ways and possibilities for us to open ourselves up to our own gifts, and we are all healing people and the world with our gifts in whatever different way it is. Through writing, through reading, through you putting this platform on, you're helping people wake up during this time when people are so hopeless. You're bringing people hope and showing what's possible. So, yeah.
Thank you. I love your energy. That is definitely my intent. So, Bill, do we have Bill back with us?
Yeah, my internet went out for a second there or so.
Right, but what I said is, I don't know if you heard this part. I said we were getting the key, we were getting that technique, and then all of a sudden the matrix just went haywire, and they didn't want us to have it. So I thought that was a plan. You know what I mean? They're like, no, tap into that line. No, you're not getting the secret to waking up from the matrix. So I think we got Bill. Tell us what you were telling us, because we missed that.
Well, this flat tax and spending plan is about pre-budgeting government, which goes back to something Jaquelin said early on about it's all about the money. And what goes on in the government is about the money. And you're never going to change things unless you change the system. Term limits won't solve anything. Changing the people won't solve anything. Okay, no matter who wins the upcoming general election, not only for presidency, but for all the seats and for everything else, nothing's really going to change unless you change the system. And this is non-violent change, right? This is peaceful plan change. This is a long-term vision, okay? So what it says is that basically each government department gets a percent, okay? So if the military is currently getting, and I'm just pulling a number out here, 7% of all the tax dollars, that's what they get. The Department of Education gets a certain percent. That's what they get. You add up all the percents and you've got the basis of a flat tax. Now you still have to do something with all the social welfare systems, okay? And in my opinion, and as described in the text, you can collapse everything down to three things. If you take $1 trillion to 300 million citizens, everyone gets $70 a week ballpark, okay? That's not a lot in certain sense, but it certainly is enough to live off of if you don't have other certain expenses. So a second thing you do is that the healthcare, okay? You don't need a health insurance system if you say that healthcare is a right of citizens. You, the citizen, go and you get treated, and the corporation bills the government, and your right as a citizen is that you get treated. Okay, however it's done, and it's for the corporation and the government to hash out the payment. Okay, so no one has, you grandfather out the insurance system. Start with dental, work on the catastrophic, then you don't have all this silliness that's going on. You have a much simpler system. You move all of the healthcare expenses out of the corporations. You simplify the HR departments. You have corporations now focusing on product and not all this other stuff. And you do something similar with housing. You create zones where people can go live if they're citizens. They don't have to pay the utilities or whatever, because the whole complex just is paid out of the flat tax percent collected. Okay, so you're not propping up the housing industry. You get rid of all the Section 8 stuff. It's a long-term vision. It's not a, oh, I'm being elected, let me pass this piece of legislation. But it's a nonviolent, and it's well within the parameters of the Constitution and everything else.
I like that, Bill. I've been having discussions. I'm considering running for governor of California. So just hearing your feedback and hear your yes, we gotta change some things. We gotta shake some things up. So that's why I love to have these conversations to find out what people's thoughts are, what's going on, what needs to change in government in the world. So I was pretty much in agreement with you, Bill.
I appreciate that.
You got to change the system.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
you can't change
I
it.
concur.
It's like the hunt for Red October. A Rusky don't go to the bathroom without a plan, right? You can't change anything without a plan. Okay, this may not be 100% perfect, but it's a better long-term plan than anything that's being put forth right now, in my opinion.
Okay, so Jaquelin came out of politics. Bill may want to go into politics. We don't know, but he just
I would love to go back into politics one day. I think there's, a need for people, the light seekers and the waysayers, but it was just a little too much to handle with the situation that I was involved in. And I'm glad to be here now.
Well, I like the way you say the light seekers and the way, was it the way makers?
Way seekers, waysayers. All of the above.
Whoever they are, there are people like
right.
me. But let me know if you want to go
people
back
like
in politics. Let me know if you want to go back into politics. I definitely need your help and your assistance.
I will.
We are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. What I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching live, as well as everyone who is watching this show in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today. And we're going to start with you, Jaquelin.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being here. I think it's really cool collection of how we're all in different aspects of the universe, but all kind of have the same idea that this is the time of change. And so if you're looking to improve your health and not only protect your insides, but also become aligned, within the consciousness of the world today, please use the coupon code Roundtable for 22% off at www.cygnuscbd.com, CYGNUSCBD.com. It's listed in the comments above. But again, that is Roundtable, all capital, for 22% off. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me on Instagram at Jaquelin Jenkins. I'll leave my contact information in the comments. But again, I'm so happy to be here and I hope to join you again.
Thank you. We'd love for you to come back, join the show, join the team. Definitely love your support. I think we lost Bill, but we got Bill back.
No, I'm
on the phone.
I think you can hear me, maybe.
Yes, we can hear you. What do you want the audience to take away from your appearance here today?
Just that there are other possibilities that are out there. And if you'd like to know more, please visit poje.biz. And I'm sorry, my battery ran out. I thought I had my laptop charging, but all of a sudden it went.
It's okay.
Much good energy.
And we have you here. We had you for the majority of the show. So I definitely appreciate your support. Veronica, what do you have for us?
Well, the time to reinvent ourselves is now, because we are reinventing whether we are aware of it or not. It's just whether you're going to reinvent yourself with awareness and into the direction of your own dream life, or are you going to just fall into the unconscious reprogramming which we're being exposed to every day? Like I said, I'm on a mission of helping women and reinventing themselves during this time that we're in. So if what I said resonates with you, I will post in the comments so you can reach out to me. I open up my calendar once a week for free Discover Your Purpose-Driven Path sessions. So if what I said resonated with you and you'd like to open up a conversation and see where I can be of contribution to creating more change, feel free to reach out to me. And also my website is thedreamlifeformula.com. On Facebook and Instagram, you can find me under The Dream Life Formula.
I like it. Definitely have to sit down and have a session with you so we can get the dream life formula created for me in my life. I just want to thank you all for being a guest on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I enjoyed speaking with you. I also want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch the show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives. I definitely appreciate your support. Please go ahead and share the show, share this information with your friends, your relatives, put it out in your network, because we have so much information, guidance, techniques, strategies for you that you definitely want to share with your friends. If you are interested in finding out more ways that I can help your business, or maybe you're interested in picking up your tickets to the Power by Purpose 2-day empowerment teleconference, which is October 9th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have 2 full days of sessions, expos, information for you. Or maybe you might be interested in being a guest on the Roundtable Talk Show. Please visit the website at ashsharifa.com. Until tomorrow morning at the same time, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern. Everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.